Welcome, folks. Bear Down and Beyond, episode 2. I apologize for the delay in getting this episode out. We are getting the kinks out the way. We are still going through settings and technology. We are still trying to figure things out, but the most important thing that we're not trying to figure out is our passion and our interest and our love to talk Chicago Bears, football, and everything and beyond, which is why I'm excited to be here. And I appreciate every one of you tuning in, listening to the podcast, engaging with the Instagrams or the TikToks or the Reels, all that stuff. I appreciate you guys and all your support because I'm so excited to bring this to fruition, and I'm so excited to be talking football with you guys. And we'll get through the kinks, and pretty soon this will be a seamless show on behind the scenes. But nonetheless, let's get into it. We have a fun episode going on today. What we're going to talk about. First, I'm going to bring some Bears and NFL news, to kick off the episode. If you guys are depending on NFL news for me, you must be really living under a rock because I'm not here to report any news, but I'm here to mention it. And then I'm going to talk about the 3 Chicago players I'm most excited to watch this season who are not named Justin Fields. And then 3 Chicago Bears under the most pressure, in my opinion, this season who are not named Justin Fields. And then we're going to rank our NFC quarterbacks from 16 to number 1. And I know there's going to be a little controversy. I know there's going to be some interest in this one to kind of put me in my place. But we're going to go through that exercise. And then we're going to talk top 10 TV shows because I just finished a TV show yesterday that I believe could hit the top 10, and we're going to go through that. We're going to have some fun, and let's get after it, guys. So, Bears and NFL news, the Bears signed Yanni Ngakoue. He was a defensive lineman. They were really hurting for pass rush, and we got it. He was a top free agent on the market. The Bears might have overspent for him, but we definitely needed some edge rush, and rightfully so. So I'm excited to have him on the D-line. Only a 1-year deal, so we'll see what happens, but he's had about 7 or 8 sacks in the last 8 seasons he's played. But the issue is, and the red flag is that he's been bouncing around a lot of different teams. But we'll see how it goes. 8 sacks is definitely the help that we need. If we're replicating that production, I'll take 8 sacks from D lineman any day of the week. Pause. Mercedes Lewis, we also signed, helping with the pass and rush protection. I think we have a lot of tight end depth, but if he's really it's a veteran that's gonna help, bring some veteran experience and help with the pass protection and run protection. I'm all down for that. My boy Teddy Bridgewater to the Lions. Whoosh. Some people might argue that Teddy's better than Goff. I mean, I do love Teddy. I believe he got hurt at the wrong time, and I believe he does deserve a couple more chances in this league. He is injury prone. Kareem Hunt, I think, went to go visit the Saints, then the Colts called him, offering him more money if he comes to visit, but then he never got a deal done. There was something interesting about that, the whole sensitive story about running backs not getting paid. So keep your eye on that one. It would be hilarious if he doesn't sign with both teams and he tries to go back to the Saints, and the Saints are like, nah, we'll give you the middle finger. That would be hilarious. And then Joe Burrow got hurt, calf injury. He might be out for a few weeks, might miss the opening game of the season, and I hope that doesn't happen because I love Joey. All right. Three Chicago Bears I'm excited to watch in the 2023 season who are not named Justin Fields. The first and most obvious one is DJ Moore. We traded away our overall number 1 pick to get a package deal with him, and he will be the first legitimate receiver Justin Fields will have, and arguably he might be one of the better Chicago Bears receivers in Chicago Bears history, if you don't get me wrong. Like, when's the last time we had a legit number 1 receiver? Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Allen Robinson. Is DJ Moore in the same tier of those 3 guys? Is he above A-Rob? I would say he's above A-Rob. A-Rob had the same same situation as DJ Moore with not having legit quarterbacks behind him. Even before he came to the Bears, A-Rob, had all those Jaguars quarterbacks going through, the huddle there. And I think DJ Moore is a little bit above A-Rob, Allen Robinson. Is he in the same category as Brandon Marshall? Maybe Brandon Marshall's a tier above him, but I'm so excited to watch him. Why? Because he's like the first legit Bears receiver we've had in years. Maybe one of the number 1, number 2 best Chicago Bears receivers of all time in Bears history. And he's going to help Justin Fields. He's going to be that number 1 receiver that Justin Fields needs to develop and mature as a quarterback. And just like we see with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, like we saw with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, a quarterback needs a security blanket that our wide receiver 1, and DJ Moore is going to provide that for him. And whatever I'm seeing in the training camps and these clips and these videos, I know they're just in t-shirts and shorts and pads in some of those videos, but I'm excited. Chicago Bears player number 2, I'm excited to watch this season, not named Justin Fields. Tremaine Edmonds, huge free agent that was on the market in March. Our defense was so bad last year at all positions, and we get a nice veteran guy like Tremaine Edmonds, who was a big deal in that Bills defense. He fits the Eberflus linebacker style, long and lengthy paws. And we signed him to a 4-year, $72 million deal. Ryan Poles has been very, very smart in the way he spends his money, and this was one of his bigger investments. So it better be a home run. I'm excited to see this defense overall, especially the secondary and the linebackers, because we also signed a couple other players. But Tremaine Edmonds, I'm going to be excited to watch for him to freaking be a ball hawk on that defense and lead that defense, because it can only go up from here. I think we were the worst scoring defense of all 32 NFL teams last year, and they were complete cheeks. And now we've invested a lot in the defense and free agency in the draft. Lots of ways to go, don't get me wrong, but the secondary and linebackers are looking very solid. Third Chicago Bears player I'm excited to watch in the 2023 season, not named Justin Fields, Tyrique Stevenson from Miami, 2nd round pick. Poles has been pretty solid in drafting the secondary. When we got Kyler Gordon, I know he had a little bit of a rough start, but towards the middle and the end of the season, he really picked it up. And Jaquan Brisker, Poles seems to know what he's doing with the secondary. And there's just something about when a Bears draft a cornerback that I love. We've had success in, drafting cornerbacks, not quarterbacks, cornerbacks throughout the history of the Bears, going back to Kyler Fuller, Peanut Tillman, Charles Tillman, I believe we drafted, and then Poles recently with Gordon and Brisker, Eddie Jackson. We've been really solid in drafting in the secondary, and there's just something about drafting a corner that's going to have longevity in his career, going to have lots of success and stay with the Bears, that I found a lot of interest in, especially if he replicates Peanut Tillman's play style a little bit, teaching him the peanut punch. Charles Tillman was one of my favorite players as a kid growing up, and I've seen some solid training camp highlights of him already, shorts and t-shirts, but with that draft pick, I just love seeing the Bears have success with players that they draft. It's been a long time, with Ryan Pace, he only had a couple players that he drafted that had success, but with Ryan Poles, I'm hoping that the tables do turn in the drafting, and that Tyrique Stevenson does very well and can be that starting corner opposite of Jalen Johnson, or replacing Jalen because he's on a contract year, which we'll get into. So yeah, the 3 Chicago Bears, and I'm excited to watch the most in the 2023 season, not named Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, Tyrique Stevenson. Now, on the complete opposite side, I'm excited to watch him, but 3 Chicago Bears under Sam's hot seat this season, not named Justin Fields. Remember, keep in mind I said Chicago Bears. I'm going to start with Matt Eberflus. When the Bears first hired Matt Eberflus as the head coach, I was a little wonky about it. I felt 2 different ways about it. The only positive thing that I felt about it is that he came from the Colts regime. That Colts defense was really solid when he was with the Colts. That Colts team was doing really well at the time. And that was the only thing. I'm really mad that we didn't sign and hire Brian Daboll as the head coach. He was the one that I want to keep my eye on. This track record of hiring offensive-minded head coaches. He's the one that really changed and had a big impact on Josh Allen's career. And not only that, he had a big impact on Mitch Trubisky's career as well, because I believe Brian Daboll was with Trubisky when they were both at the Bills. And then you could see exactly what Brian Dable did with the New York Giants, what he's doing with Daniel Jones, and I'm not giving Daniel Jones any credit. He brought that team to the playoffs with a limited roster, limited talent. They have a really solid, defensive line. I believe. I watch the Giants because I am in New York, but not the nitty gritty like I would the Bears. But I wish we got Brian Dable, but we have Matt Eberflus, and the reason why he's on my hot seat because he got to use the whole team last year as a scapegoat for us not doing good. And don't get me wrong, I didn't think different when the Bears first won that Week 1 game in the tsunami against the 49ers, and they were talking about hit philosophy, which was it like hustle, intensity, tackling, or something like that. I was sold. I was on the Matt Eberflus trade, and then we went 3 and 14. I don't know. You can have 17 games, whatever it was. He got to use the whole team as a scapegoat last year, and this year he needs to at least show that he deserves to be a head coach. Because if we go under 500 this year, with all the investments that we did, and that defense doesn't improve, you are a defensive-minded head coach, and you had the worst scoring defense last year, I don't care who you are, you better start pulling some tricks out of your pocket as a defensive-minded head coach to at least not be last, 32nd in the NFL in scoring ranked defense. So Matt Eberflus, one of my Chicago Bears that are under the hot seat this season, not named Justin Fields. The other Chicago Bears under Sam's hot seat this season, not named Justin Fields, Chase Claypool. This is an obvious one. If you're listening to Chicago Sports Radio, if you're listening and paying attention to Chicago Bears Twitter, Chase Claypool was a big investment for Ryan Poles and one of the more reaches and riskier investments from Ryan Poles because he used a second-round pick, which then ended up being the first pick in the second round, the 32nd pick. It technically was the first pick in the first round, or the last pick in the first round. He needs to show up. He's been a little injury prone. I'm not putting anything on him from last season at all. He was coming into a new offense in the middle of the season after a trade. He got injured. The weather was cold. Whatever. New quarterback. Terrible wide receiving core. Terrible O-lineman. Not enough time to create space. He needs to show up this year, especially with DJ Moore on the opposite side of him, creating less pressure for Chase Claypool, less attention for Chase Claypool. He needs to step it up, and he needs to step it up for Justin Fields as well. Are you a true number 2? You were even claiming yourself to be a number 1 at the Steelers, and that obviously didn't go your way. Are you a true number 1? Can you stay healthy, and can you produce? Can you get us, 700, 800 yards and a few touchdowns? I think that's a successful season, isn't it? Justin Fields is probably going to, give DJ Moore 1,000 yards. And if you do the math, maybe you can get a 1,000-yard season too. If we had 2,000-yard wide receiver seasons, that would be crazy. But give me 800 yards. Give me 750 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. 60 receptions in the season. I can't think of the top of my head the averages, but for number 2. But can you do that, Chase Claypool? So Chicago Bear number 2 under Sam's hot seat for the 2023 season, not named Justin Fields, Chase Claypool. And if you pay attention to Chicago Bears sports, Chicago Bears Twitter, and everything going on at training camp in the offseason with the Chicago Bears, this one might be another common one, but a personal one that I am interested in to see how it pans out, like how I mentioned before with us drafting corners and stuff like that. The third Chicago Bear under Sam's hot seat for the 2023 season, not named Justin Fields, Jalen Johnson. It's a contract season. He's betting on himself. There is a lot of secondary talent that we've been drafting in the cornerbacks room. We got Tyreek Stevenson, we got Kyler Gordon. There's another one, is it Snell or something, that I keep seeing on Twitter, later round draft pick that's having a good training camp. Jalen Johnson needs to prove himself. I love Jalen Johnson. I feel like he is a top 15 cornerback, if not more, in this league. He has played well against a lot of great receivers. Not lockdown, but lockdown enough to keep us in games. He is under my hot seat, and I think he needs to prove himself because Ryan Poles is very smart on how he spends his money, and he doesn't mind going into the draft next year and taking a risk on a guy and drafting him all over again in that position. So Jalen Johnson on my hot seat as well, and I hope he has a great season. So 3 Chicago Bears under Sam's hot seat this season, not named Justin Fields. Matt Eberflus, head coach. Chase Claypool, wide receiver. Jalen Johnson, starting cornerback in his contract year. I'm excited to watch him, and I'm hoping for the best for them this year. Not that I can make any decisions with firing or hiring, but just note that I said they're on my hot seat. All right. This is going to be some fun. I don't even know how to do this. But we're going to do it. Sorry, I had to zoom in on my computer. Like I mentioned, operations behind the scenes of the podcasting is still to be determined. I need an official studio, official mics, official settings, so bear with me. But this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. So at first, I did ranking QBs, NFC and AFC together, so all 32 QBs in the NFL. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to rank the NFC quarterbacks from number 1 to number 16. And I'm trying to think how I should do this. Should I start with 16? Should I start with 1? I might go back and forth, but here, I'm going to start from the bottom. And there's no bias in this. This is just what I'm saying. And I'm not a perfect quarterback whisperer, quarterback analyst. I'm not even an official sports or football analyst. Just from my own eyes, I watch enough football. I've been a huge NFL fan for the majority of my childhood and my life. Huge Bears fan. And this is from what I see. I could be wrong, I could be right, but we'll see how the season turns out. So at number 16, ranking my NFC QBs from 1 to 16. Number 16, all due respect, we're putting the rookies here. So the first rookie I think of is for the Carolina Panthers, and that's Bryce Young. You haven't done anything in this league yet. You were the first overall pick, but all due respect, you probably will be better than half these people on this list. Hopefully, if your career goes right. Just hopefully not this season, because the Bears do have your first round pick next year. We're doing the rookies at slot number 16, Bryce Young. From 14 to 15, interchangeable, doesn't really matter to me, but I just put him there. Desmond Ridder from the Atlanta Falcons. I don't remember seeing him do much last season, but maybe he did, and I just wasn't paying attention. I know the Bears played the Falcons once last year. I don't know if he was playing quarterback or whatever. But Desmond Ridder, number 15. At number 14, Sam Howell. I don't watch much of the Washington Commanders. Isn't he a rookie? This is his second year? I don't know. The Bears played the Commanders last year, and it was Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, so I think he was a third-string quarterback. You haven't done anything in this league, so I'm putting you at number 14. Number 13, and I'm just being honest here. I'm just being honest. This is not biased. I haven't seen much work of art from this kid, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate and backlash for how low I have this quarterback and the 1 through 16 ranking in the NFC. At number 13, Jordan Love. And it's not because you're a Packers quarterback. Trust me, it's not that. I just don't think you're that good. I saw you in a couple games last year when you were playing the Chiefs. I think you guys had a total of 10 points. Your defense kept you in that game. I think you had 87 passing yards. And I could be wrong on these stats. I'm just thinking at the top of my head. I didn't do much research going into this. I got too much content I got to create. But at the top of my head, at QB 13 in the NFC, Jordan Love. And I might get hate for it. I might not. I probably will get a lot of hate from the Packers fans. But nonetheless, QB 13 in the NFC, Jordan Love. Fuck off. At number 12, Baker Mayfield. Y'all might argue that Baker should probably be under Jordan Love. There's an argument there. But from what I've seen from Jordan Love and what I've seen from Baker Mayfield, I'm putting Baker Mayfield above Jordan Love at number 12. Why? I don't know. He's a better quarterback. He's got more work of art. He's got more larger resume. Could and will Jordan Love be better than Baker? I hope so, for the sake of Packers fans, because if Jordan Love is not better than Baker Mayfield and you guys put all your chips on Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers, well, you guys are in some trouble. And Baker had a nice little comeback game. Was it Thursday Night Football with the Rams last year? I think with limited help too. Hey, put Baker at number 12. QB 11, when I'm ranking my quarterbacks 1 through 16 in the NFC, at quarterback at number 11, I'm going to get so much hate for this, but I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm going to look you guys in the eyes. Quarterback 11, Daniel Jones. Simple as that. I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from Giants fans when I make this clip, but at quarterback 11, I got Daniel Jones. He hasn't done much. He throws it back to Saquon. Giants fans praise this guy. I don't know how this guy got $30 million a year, $35 million a year. I don't know why he's getting so much praise in this offseason. Your numbers are minimal. You're not that great. That's from what I see. I could be wrong, but I think it's the obvious. Daniel Jones is not the answer for the New York Giants, and he's not even a top 10 quarterback in the NFC. I said it. At me. Say what you want to say in the comments when I make this clip. It is what it is. And Daniel Jones is trash. I hate Giants fans. All right. And number 10, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has had some solid talent around him, solid offensive coordinators around him, solid offense, wide receivers, talent, and running backs around him. I put him above Daniel Jones. I think if you think about it, they're both a little bit more mobile quarterbacks. Kyler Murray's better at being mobile and throwing the football down the field. I think Kyler Murray's better. Hey, I could be wrong. Like I mentioned, not the expert QB analyst or NFL analyst here, but from my own eyes, as a general viewer, which is the majority of the NFL watching is average general viewer, I'm just saying my opinion here. Kyler Murray over Daniel Jones. Could Daniel Jones make a leap over Kyler Murray this year? Or in general as a quarterback throughout their whole entire career? Probably. But right now, not right now. At number 9, I got Brock Purdy. Yes, he's got a lot of talent around him, 100%. However, he did show out and he did prove himself when he was healthy and when he was playing with the 49ers last season. And as the last pick in the NFL draft, wasn't he Mr. Irrelevant? This guy balled out. Yes, he's got George Kittle. Yes, he's got Christian McCaffrey. Yes, he's got Deebo Samuel. Yes, he's got, who's the other wide receiver over there? I can't think of it at the top of my head right now. Regardless, I have him at quarterback number 9 in the NFC. Above Kyler Murray, above Daniel Jones. I'd rather have Brock Purdy. If you put Brock Purdy and Daniel Jones in that San Francisco 49ers offense, I want Brock Purdy every day of the week. No doubt about it. Facts. And number 8. And this guy's getting a lot of hype and praise around the NFL and just because of last season. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. However, I got Geno Smith at number 8. He's got a lot of talent around them. He's got a solid defense around him, which is why the Seahawks were doing so well last year. Is he better than Russell Wilson in that system? No. Is he more submissive and complacent to Pete Carroll? Yes, in my opinion. Geno Smith at QB8 in the NFC. Just because this guy won one Monday Night Football game against the Broncos and had a cute little speech, hey, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back, does not make him a top 5 quarterback, a top 7, 6, 8 quarterback in the NFC. He's lucky I have him at 8, to be honest with you, but all due respect, because of what he produced last season, I gave it to him. You realize that this guy was irrelevant for his entire career, then goes to Seattle, has a solid season because of a solid defense, because of DJ Metcalf, because of Tyler Lockett, because of Kevin Walker, the running back, that he should be deserved a top 5. I've seen people ranking him top 5 in the NFC. There is no shot Geno Smith is a top 5 QB in the NFC. Let's be real. At number 7, Matthew Stafford. Matthew had a great team around him, and that's the only reason why he won the Super Bowl. He's doing the same stuff he did at the Lions with less talent. Well, with more talent at the Rams, we had less talent at the Lions in Detroit. This man won a Super Bowl because he has Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Sean McVay as his coordinator, and that defense is talented. You could put Daniel Jones in that offense, and he might win a Super Bowl on that team and he won a Super Bowl because of that defense and the talent around him. Matthew Stafford, I have at 7. He's going to be declined as the years come. I think he's pretty much done for the year, for the NFL as a starting quarterback. He's hurt. He's getting injury. He's getting beat up. I don't see him doing as crazy stuff as he did last year or 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, but we'll see. So QB number 7 in the NFC, Matthew Stafford. At QB number 6, Derek Carr. Matthew Stafford could go above Derek Carr. I'm not a big Derek Carr guy, all due respect. He just got to the Saints, so I honestly should have put Derek Carr a little bit lower. He's in a new offense, but Derek Carr, I'm not a big fan of him. Simple as that. He's at QB 6 for me in the NFC. I don't really have much to rebut on Derek Carr. Just not a big fan. I don't think he is that great of a quarterback, but we'll see and time will come with a new opportunity in New Orleans. At QB number 5 in the NFC, Jared Goff. As a Bears fan and any other NFC North fan outside of the Lions will tell you straight to your face they don't believe in the Lions, they don't believe in Jared Goff. Jared Goff has a solid system around him outside of Dan Campbell. I don't even believe in Dan Campbell. But that O-line, that D-line, and the receiving core around him and running backs is pretty solid. I humbly put him at 5. He could have probably been a little bit lower, to be honest with you. At QB 5 in the NFC, I have Jared Goff. Could be interchangeable. You could interchange my 4 to 8 if you really wanted to. Very interchangeable. They're not really too far off from each other. At QB 4, Kirk Cousins. Kirk balls out. He puts numbers every year. He just can't play in prime time, and he just is not clutch. But Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback, solid veteran quarterback, not a journeyman quarterback. He's a starting quarterback. I feel like a lot of other teams in the NFL would want to have him on his team if he became a free agent or available for trade. He just doesn't win clutch games, but comparing them, everyone from 5 to 16, there's not one quarterback that is better than Kirk Cousins when you put 5 through 16, in my opinion. People, Giants fans might argue Daniel Jones, but I disagree. At number 3, ranking my NFC QBs from 1 to 16, my third-ranked quarterback, your boy, him, QB1, Justin Fields. And this is not even an argument. The talent that Justin Fields has and what the ceiling that he still has to reach in this league, now that he has talents O-line around him, he's the third best ranked quarterback in the NFC. And I'll have this argument with anybody. Could I have put Kirk Cousins above him? Yeah, I probably should, but I'm a Bears fan and I wasn't going to put Kirk Cousins above him because I know Justin Fields has that throwing capability and he just needs some talent around him to prove that. Kirk Cousins doesn't have the mobility, neither does Jared Goff, neither does Derek Carr, neither does Matt Stafford, neither does Geno Smith, neither does Brock Purdy. Kyler Murray does, but Kyler Murray's 5'4". And Daniel Jones has mobility, but not as good as Justin Fields, and Daniel Jones can't throw. Justin Fields at number 3 for my NFC quarterback ranking from 1 to 16. I know I'm going to get a lot of haters for this. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but it is what it is, and the truth hurts. A lot of hate. Justin Fields will be an MVP in the next 3 years. He will win a Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears in the next 3 years, and he is a third-ranked NFC quarterback. And he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. If I look at my... Relax. I have Justin Fields. No, I won't even do that ranking. I'll do that ranking in another segment, in another podcast. All right. So QB3, Justin Fields. At QB2, Dak Prescott. Dak is solid. I don't know why Dak gets so much hate. Yeah, does he throw some questionable interceptions? Of course. But so does every quarterback. In the NFC, Dak Prescott is QB number 2. You could maybe make arguments why he should be number 1, but in the NFC, and if I went through all the rosters and teams correctly and haven't missed anybody, this should be accurate. Dak Prescott, I remember his rookie year when he came out, Romo got hurt. This man can ball, and any team would love to have Dak Prescott as their quarterback. He always has a little bit of talent around him. You know, he always had CeeDee Lamb, and then who was before CeeDee? I can't think of the top of my head. And then he's had Zeke, and then he had all these running backs and the O-linemen, but Dak can ball out. He's got a solid defense behind him now as well. And I believe Dak Prescott is QB number 2 in the NFC. QB number 1, maybe a little bit of recency bias, but this man balled out. He showed who he is. And I had my doubts about him when he first came into this league, even before this year. And that's why I have faith in Justin Fields kind of making the same leap that Jalen Hurts did. For QB1, the number 1 QB in the NFC, in my opinion, is Jalen Hurts. He balled out this year. He could throw. He could run. He can make smart plays. That Super Bowl game was crazy. He had an amazing game. What happened? Was there like a fumble or something or like an interception? But that game was going back and forth. He was throwing it to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. He was balling out. Jalen Hurts at QB1 in the NFC. So going through my NFC QB rankings, at number 1, we got Jalen Hurts. At number 2, we got Dak Prescott. At number 3, we got Justin Fields. At number 4, we got Kirk Cousins. At number 5, we got Jared Goff. At number 6, we got Derek Carr. At number 7, we got Matthew Stafford. At number 8, we got Geno Smith. At number 9, we got Brock Purdy. At number 10, we got Kyler Murray. At number 11, Daniel Jones. At number 12, Baker Mayfield. At number 13, Jordan Love. At number 14, Sam Howell. 15, Desmond Ridder. And 16, rookies, Bryce Young. That was a fun exercise. When I was doing this, I can't wait to edit these clips and put them out there because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate and backlash for ranking Fields so high, ranking Daniel Jones so low, and ranking Jordan Love so low. But truth hurts. Truth hurts. Fields is going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league in the next couple of years. He's going to be an MVP quarterback in this league in the next 3 years. He might even be a top 5 quarterback sooner than you might even know. And obviously Jalen Hurts is number 1 in the NFC. All right. To wrap up this podcast, and this has been a lot of fun, and sorry if I'm talking so fast. I got to travel to Syracuse here shortly, and I hope the audio on this is solid or else I'm going to cry. But nonetheless, like I mentioned, I just finished a TV show that I was very invested in, and I was trying to think, could this TV show make a top 10 placement in Sam's best TV shows of all time rankings? And I think it can. And I'm going to go through this. So I have my top 10 TV shows of all time, and then I have my honorable mentions. But what I do want to mention are shows that are not in my ranking that possibly could, but I never watched them. And I got to take time to watch them. And I tried to watch a couple of them, I just couldn't get into it. But that goes with every show. You got to take the time to invest in the first few episodes for a season and let the cookie crumble from there. But so Sam's top 10 TV shows of all time. I'm going to go through them from 10 to 1. I don't know how I should do this, but 10 to 1. But first, I would like to mention the shows that could make it in some people's opinions, but not mine because I've never watched them. Popular shows I haven't watched. So The Wire is not in this ranking. Boardwalk Empire is not in this ranking. Peaky Blinders is not in this ranking. Mad Men is not in this ranking. Homeland is not in this ranking, and 24 is not in this ranking. I know I've heard about a bunch of things about these shows, but they are not in my ranking because I never watched them. And I'm doing a fair assessment, a fair ranking, just like I did with my NFC quarterbacks. I do have honorable mentions. They arguably could make top 10 over my list here. But they did make my top 10. But honorable mentions, I would love to, hear people's reasonings why they should. But so your boy Samuel's top 10 shows of all time, starting with number 10. And this is the show I just mentioned, Suits. Suits is a top 10 show of all time. I don't know what it is about the show and why it's so popular, but I turned it on and I could not press stop. I've never had a show, I don't know if it's just me or does anybody else got emotional during like every other episode of Suits? I was tearing up at every other episode of Suits and I had no idea why. I haven't teared up at a TV show or movie since Marley and Me. I swear to God. Whether it was Lewis needing a friend, whether it was Donna always looking out for Harvey, whether it was Harvey and Donna's relationship, whether it was Rachel and Mike. I don't know what was going on with that show, but I was tearing up every other episode. And I just finished it. And I need to know, is this continuing live? This show is like Grey's Anatomy, where it's just going forever? When I first started watching this show, I was like, I'm just going to turn it on in the background. I thought it was like the Grey's Anatomy of lawyers, like one of those ABC TV shows. I don't even know what station this was aired on. And arguably so, yes, it could be like one of those shows in people's opinions, but mine, I don't know what it was about the show. I want to go to law school. I want to become a lawyer. Before I went to college, or when I started college, I was supposed to go to law school, and I never did. Now I want to sign up. I want to take the LSAT, and I want to go to law school, and I want to be Harvey freaking Specter. I'll tell you that. Suits, number 10 in my top 10 shows of all time. And I'd love to hear your opinion on Suits as well. Number 10, and I didn't want to do like sitcoms. It's not like a sitcom, but sitcoms are not making this. So there's like No How I Met Your Mother, no Friends in this rating. I feel like they're their own category, and you can't really put them in the same category of these. But at number 9, I put Entourage. And you could arguably put Entourage above. I wouldn't argue with you if you put Entourage top 5 show of all time. But because it's like, quote unquote, not a sitcom, but like the 30-minute shows, you know what I'm talking about. I have Entourage at number 9. Could be up higher, but the reason I put them at number 9 was because I felt like they fit that category of sitcom. And number 8, Shameless. Shameless is a great show. I still have to finish the last couple episodes, and if I finish it, maybe this ranking goes lower or higher, but Shameless is a classic. It's a pure, genuine representation of the south side of Chicago. Philip, Ian, Fiona, Frank. This show is a great show, and it deserves to make my top 10, and it's listed at number 8. So top 10 shows of all time, I got Suits at number 10, Entourage at number 9, and Shameless at number 8. At number 7, this is a football podcast, right? This is a sports podcast. Friday Night Lights. I think people forget about how great this show is and was at like the peak of its like time. Remember, this show came out like 10 years ago, if I'm correct, if not older. Now I'm kind of aging myself here. Friday Night Lights is a great show, and I think it deserves to make top 10. Does it need to deserve to make top 7? I don't know. That's your opinion, but my opinion, I think it's above Shameless. Is it above Entourage? They're just different categories. That's why I have Entourage so low. Is it above Suits? Honestly, respectfully, it's above Suits. So, top 10 shows of all time, and number 10, Suits, number 9, Entourage, number 8, Shameless, and number 7, Friday Night Lights. And number 6, this is a classic show. Yes, it got a little old after times, and yes, they kept like just dragging the show off a little bit, but it deserves to be at least in the top 10 discussion. Wherever you put in top 10, that's up to you, but The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is a top 10 show. I have them ranked at number 6. It's a good show. It's a great show. Did they drag it out a little bit? Yeah, but now they got like prequels and sequels and spin-offs and all that stuff. And when The Walking Dead came out, is the first 3 shows that I started watching when I was a teenager, when we first got our Netflix account, was Prison Break, Lost, and Walking Dead. Those were like the 3 prime, and Breaking Bad, and those were the like prime television. Like, that's before we had all this technology, you know, the earlier seasons of that show, and like this TV entertainment trend thing wasn't even really a thing. And Walking Dead, the first few seasons, oh my god, crazy good. When they killed off Shane, I was so tight, I'm not gonna lie. But I have Walking Dead at number 6. Number 5, also in the same kind of era in terms of timeline, Sons of Anarchy. Great show. Oh my, I haven't watched the Mayans show yet, but Sons of Anarchy, arguably a top 5 show, let alone top 10. If you haven't watched Sons of Anarchy, you need to watch Sons of Anarchy. That's a great show. I love that show, and I have them at number 5. Number 4, Dexter. I need to watch Dexter again. Dexter was another great show. That was on Showtime. I can't say much after that. Like, Dexter, number 4 on my top 10 list. I know it was always a great show. The reason why I can't really talk much about it is because I need to watch it again. I've watched it once or twice in college when I was bumming off someone's Showtime account, but I need to. Now all these streaming platforms are like dragging everything, raising prices on subscriptions, and you can't share passwords. It's a bunch of bullshit, because I would really love to go back and watch Dexter. And number 3, the next 3 here, 3, 2, 1, could be interchangeable. You could argue, and I wouldn't even argue against you if you wanted to swap these, minus one of them probably, but Breaking Bad at number 3. Like I mentioned before, Breaking Bad was peak television. It was one of the first TV shows that I started binge watching on Netflix. And I'm going to cuff this with Better Call Saul. I'm not saying Better Call Saul is a top 10 show, but I'm putting them together and grouping them in this top 3 because of the storyline is amazing. Like, Walter White, the way they produced that show, you could even say it's number 1 show of all time if you really wanted to, and I wouldn't be too mad about it. But Breaking Bad is my number 3 in my top 10 shows of all time. I actually just rewatched it last winter, actually. I rewatched it from the beginning to the end, and just an appreciation. And then I finished Better Call Saul, and then I watched El Camino. I just love that. You know, I wish we can have more TV shows like that today. And number 2, and some people might get really mad that I have this at number 2 and not number 1, but I was thinking about this, and I thought long and hard about it. Pause. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is one of the best TV shows of all time. Could it be number 1? Yeah. But that last season, and I hate when people bitch about the last season, I'm not going to lie. The last season was good. It's right, whatever. Like, whatever happened with the last season. But just appreciate that show. Like, I don't think there's any other TV show in history that had people waiting till 9 p.m. on a Sunday. Maybe the show I'm going to say at number 1, but I wasn't like really an adult then when it first came out. But logging into the stream HBO Max app every Sunday at 9 p.m. to wait for that new episode. TV shows don't do that today. There's like nothing that really, like Tulsa King did it, but like it's Tulsa King. Like Game of Thrones had people doing watch parties, you know, stopping traveling plans, or like in the middle of traveling plans. Like, let's say you went to North Carolina for the weekend. Oh, I gotta watch Game of Thrones at 9 p.m. I can't miss it because the spoilers are going on social media the very next minute that show is done airing. Like, Game of Thrones was crazy good, one of the best shows of all time, and I have them at number 2 in my top 10. And number 1, this is a no-brainer. Like, if you don't think this is the best show of all time, I gotta ask you questions. Unless you're kind of trying to dispute my top 3, which, respectfully, so I'll hear your argument. Number 1 in my top 10 shows of all time, Sopranos. Like, just a work of art, my own. Like, Tony Soprano, oh my gosh, that show, I can rewatch that show all year long and not get out of it, not like see something that I missed the first 17 times. I think I rewatched that show 5 times already in my life. I love The Sopranos. It was a work of art in its time. I think it came out like in the 90s, early 2000s when HBO was like first thing, and then you had like that HBO noise when you first started off the show. Sopranos, number 1 on my top 10 shows of all time. So a little recap. Your boy Samuel's top 10 shows of all time. Starting at number 10, Suits. Number 9, Entourage. Number 8, Shameless. Number 7, Friday Night Lights. Number 6, Walking Dead. Number 5, Sons of Anarchy. Number 4, Dexter. Number 3, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, grouping those together. Number 2, Game of Thrones. And number 1, Sopranos. Honorable mentions, though. Honorable mentions that could make an argument for top 10. I waited till after to say this, but my honorable mentions that could make this top 10: Lost, Prison Break, Burn Notice, Succession, Snowfall, Ozark. If you have any honorable mentions that you want to add or you think should be in the top 10 list, I would love to hear them. Prison Break, they just dragged that out a lot. Very similar to Walking Dead, but that was the peak of its time in television. Lost, I still don't know what happens at the end, but everyone was watching that, and that was like one of the first things I was binge watching on Netflix. Burn Notice. Burn Notice is kind of a low-key a good show. You have to watch Burn Notice. Succession, the hype was there for the first couple seasons. I have to watch the newer seasons that came out, but I haven't yet. Same thing with Snowfall. I haven't watched the recent season. And then Ozark. Ozark was a really good show, I'm not going to lie. Does it make top 10? I don't know. But all I have to say is Suits is a top 10 TV show of all time, in my opinion. Unless something else comes about that changes my mind. Awesome. That was a fun episode, guys. I really appreciate y'all listening. Follow Bear Down and Beyond on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube for everything Chicago Bears and beyond. Like I mentioned, we're getting the kinks out of the way with setup, with technology, with logistics behind the scenes. But I do appreciate every one of you following, liking, commenting, sharing your opinion on some of my takes. Like, this is a safe space. This platform is a safe space. Like, there's no grudge if you're making an argument. If I say Justin Fields is a top 5 quarterback and you call me an idiot and say, no, he's not, I'm not going to be mad about it. I want us to engage talk football in a safe, fun, friendly manner. Like, that's what this platform is all about. And that's why I love doing this and creating content around the Bears and football, because we all can talk our perspectives and opinions. That's not like an official analyst, professional, perspective. So within the next 2 episodes, I'm excited to have Jordan Canzier, I think I mentioned in the last episode, current head football coach of Troy High School, former star running back at Iowa. And there's a couple other individuals I'm going to have on the show. So it won't always be me. You won't always have to tolerate my annoying voice. But I do appreciate all y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in, listening. If you listen to all 40 minutes of this podcast, I love you. I'll give you a t-shirt. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a kiss. I'll give you anything you want. Relax. But if you're still listening to this show, I appreciate every one of y'all. I hope you guys have a great week. Whenever this gets published, weekend. I love y'all. Be safe. Peace.